Vanakkam. Hello friends. Dr. Nirupama Raghavan, a celebrated astrophysicist who was the first woman in India in the field of observational astronomy from our own Chennai. Archaeoastronomy was her passion, and in her research she makes a link to another very interesting supernova explosion that happened in the year 1054 AD, the remnants of which today are known as Crab Nebula. Even at that time, the recordings of the Crab Nebula were made by the Chinese and the Arabian astronomers. And in Indian subcontinent, it is very interesting and stunning to note the Crab Nova explosion being correlated with both Nadaraja and Tillai. Sarada Srinivasan, the noted archaeometallurgist who worked with Dr. Nirupama Raghavan, mentions how from the mid 11th century, the Ani Thirumanjanam was observed at Tillai, and this falls on the day of the Uttara Nakshatram, which in the year 1054 AD was observed on July 11th, which is stunningly close to the original date of the supernova itself, recorded by the Chinese as July 4th. And she makes an even more stunning revelation in the fact that the exact position of the Crab Nebula is captured in a Nadaraja icon that she archaeometallurgically fingerprinted to the middle 11th century. The Nadaraja icon at the Kankodu Vanidam temple in the Tiruvarur district, where the position of the Crab Nova lies near the top left of the head, close to the crescent moon. Jayakondar records this in his Kalingathu Parani. And next comes a further stunning hypothesis made by Dr. Nirupama Raghavan. Shiva is known in many forms. Why should the ancients have followed a constellation for charting out the imagery of the Nadaraja alone? Her hypothesis is to ask if other images of the Nadaraja could also have star connections. For this, she takes the Kailasanatha temple at Kanjipuram, which we saw in the previous episode, built by Narasimhavarma Pallava II, who was known as Rajasimha, between the years 685 to 705 AD, the king himself being an ardent follower of Saiva Siddhanta, recorded in an inscriptional evidence at the temple. The sculptures in the temple are taken as a homogeneous group for her study. We will see just one example here. A beautiful dramatic sculpture of Shiva as Gangadhara displayed in a west lateral niche of the main shrine that shows Parvati, Gangadhara and two dogs on one side. Dr. Raghavan has taken high resolution pictures, corrected it for distortions and has superimposed it on a 2D template of the Orion field of the epoch of 700 AD. The first remarkable matching that she sees is the 3-star cluster Phi 1, Phi 2 and Lambda Orionis placed in the dangling left ear of Gangadhara, and she says this reminds her of the famous lines of the child saint Gnanasambandar, Thodudaya Seviyan. Thodudaya Seviyan, Vidayeri or Thuven Madisudi. Vidayeri is the bull constellation lying nearby, and Pirai Sudi is the crescent moon atop. And from here, she matches the number of stars that find featured in the sculpture itself and records that 174 stars of the Orion field are superimposed on the sculpture of the Gangadhara. And the accuracy of the positioning of the stars, she finds it to be stunning and quotes how stars are used to depict a single strand of hair that has been used to trap Ganga. Stars are used to depict a single finger of the Lord holding aloft that strand. Stars are used to depict Ganga at the entry point located in the Milky Way, and stars have been used to depict droplets of water after the Ganga herself has been tamed, flowing out of his locks and following the path of the Milky Way. Besides the aesthetic sensibilities of the sculptor, who recorded this in stone 1300 years ago, what she finds unbelievable is How did he observe this with naked eye? Was there any text that the sculptor followed? She quotes how in Varahamihira's Brihad Samhita, he records that there were several books of astronomy and standard Dravidian iconography, which today have been lost to us. In the Greek astronomer Ptolemy's catalogue of the stars, which is dated to the 2nd century AD, she shows how more than a third of the stars that are depicted in the Gangadhara iconography are found missing, and also she observes how the positioning of the stars in the Gangadhara sculpture are more accurate than the plotting with naked eye done by Ptolemy himself in the 2nd century AD. And remember the two dogs, they are on one side depicted as the dogs of Bhairava, namely the star constellations in Canis Major and Canis Minor, which are Dr. Venkatraman again recorded in a paper published in 1975 in the Journal of Tamil Studies titled A Mystery Dog in Sculpture that Dr. Raghavan graciously acknowledges. The dancing Shiva has probably incorporated iconographic features from a long time for thousands of years, as is shown very interestingly here by the superimposition of the same Orion constellation over an Indus Valley seal which has the tiger iconography. Points out Asko Parpola, the association of the tiger and the snakes could have continued from then onwards. T.A. Gopinatha Rao, the Indian archaeologist and epigraphist, in the year 1916 published a monumental work, The Elements of Hindu Iconography, in which he traces the evolution of the different sects of Saivism in the Indian subcontinent, and here he records how the Vedic Agni becomes Rudra and Rudra becomes Shiva, but in terms of iconographic correlates, the Rudra, who was feared as he wields thunder and lightning and terrorizes cattle and people alike, had absolutely no correlation whatsoever to the Saivite Nadaraja or Adalan of the south. Here, the attributes of the Ozhikuthan are not considered as warrior-like or terrorizing, but rather as a scheme of the universe forming and dissolving into the formless that again Manikavasahar so beautifully captures in these verses of Thiruvasagam. ஒரு நாமம் ஓர் உருவம் ஒன்றுமிலார்க்கு ஆயிரம் திருநாமம் சொல்லி தெள்ளேனம் கொட்டாமோ. No wonder we say Tillai Padi, Thiruvasagam Padi. And here, while the art historian Dr. Padma Kaimal claims how the warrior-like Shiva later becomes a beatified Nadaraja only during the Pallava and Chola times, Sarada Srinivasan, in tracing the archaeometallurgical evolution, has gone to point out how this could be because of the influence of Adi Shankara, who came about in the 8th century AD. Adi Shankara was born at Kalladi in Kerala, and he traversed the distance of the Indian subcontinent preaching the Advaita philosophy, setting up mutts in far-off Kedarnath. But obviously both Dr. Kaimal and Sharada Srinivasan have probably not read the beautiful verses of 7th century Appar, which we saw in a previous episode, Kunitha Puruvamum Kovai Chevayil Kumil Sirippum. The Lord with the Kumil Sirippu as a beatific Lord has already been captured in Tamil iconography. The noted archaeologist C. Sivarama Murthy, who was director of ASI, in his monumental work Nadaraja in Art, Thought and Literature, has done an excellent cataloguing of the evolution of the Nadaraja all throughout India. When it comes to art and archaeology, his book is monumental. When it comes to thought and literature, in a book that is of 370 pages, the thoughts of the great Tamil hymnists from Tirumoolar to the Thevara Moovar to Karaikal Ammayar and the others are mentioned after page 366, and Sivarama Murthy quotes a lot from Rajanaka Ratnakara's Haravijaya, a Sanskrit court epic centered around the story of Siva's destruction of Andagasura, an Asura born when Parvati playfully blindfolded Lord Shiva himself, and Ratnagara was very thorough with Bharata Sastra. So the book delineates lot about Bharatanatyam. There is a chapter exploring the Vedic roots of the concept of the great dancer, a chapter on literature, and a chapter on hymnal literature. It is only in chapter 10, that is on epigraphy, that Tamil quotations find a precedence. Well, of course, all through the book, lot of templates of the Nadarajas of down south have been captured, but the thought has not been credited to us. And here, Zwelabel points out pre-Dravidian ideas of a dancing warrior god inherent in the Indo-Dravidian religious milieu since very ancient, possibly prehistoric or proto-historic times, has all been observed into the Ananda Tandava. The Ananda Tandava or dance of bliss is autochthonous to Tamil ideology, and Thillai was the seat of Shiva's dance since ancient times. In the year 2004, June 1st, the Adalan of Thillai made his way to CERN in Switzerland, where the Department of Atomic Mission of the Government of India gifted CERN with a huge dancing Nadaraja, which today occupies the pride of place outside the CERN building. CERN, that stands for the European Organization for Nuclear Research, which exists to understand the mystery of nature for the benefit of mankind. To a query on why the Nadaraja in its official website CERN records, the deity was chosen because of a metaphor that was drawn between the cosmic dance of Nadaraja and the modern study of the cosmic dance of the subatomic particles. 7,931 scientists and engineers representing 618 universities and research institutions of 113 nationalities work for CERN, that houses the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider, with which scientists have been trying to establish the origin of the universe. Remember, in our very first episode, we began with the lines of Manika Vasakar from his Thiru Andapagadi, where he captures exactly this. Andapagadiyin undai pirakkam அளப்பெரும் தன்மை வளப்பெரும் காட்சி ஒன்றனுக்கு ஒன்று நின்று எழில் பகரின் 100 கோடியின் மேற்பட விரிந்தன. இல் நுழை கதிரின் துன் அணு புரைய சிறியவாக பெரியோன் தெரியின். How did he know that the universe was ever expanding? Galaxies were being created every day, and he compares this proliferation of the universes to a stream of sunlight beaming into the window at our home, which captures all these moving dust particles. And this is how the galaxies look when compared to the magnificent Lord. So such is the imagery that he brings about. The CERN carries quotations from the Dance of Shiva essay by Ananda Kumarasamy, as well as from Fridge of Kapra's The Tower of Physics, placed in placards outside their building. And below the Adalan himself is a quotation from Adi Shankara's Sivananda Lahari. Beautiful Sanskrit verses indeed, but ironical, since Adi Shankara preached Advaita, the philosophy of non-duality, which goes against the very basic tenet of Saiva Siddhanta, given that the Pallava and the Chola kings were great followers of the Saiva Siddhanta tradition, given that the concept of the Adalan is an autochthonous Tamil idea, and that the Adalan at CERN went all the way here from Swami Malai, the heart asks, why not a Tamil quote below? We will further explore the antiquity of Tamil thoughts and ideas in our next episode. Vanakkam.